Hi everybody, I'm David.
I'm Josh.
This is Josh.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be looking at all of Trivium's albums, starting with number 1, Ember to Inferno.
First one. So
Number
this one, Ember to Inferno. So I heard this one after. This was not my introduction to Trivium. My introduction to Trivium was Ascendancy. So I did not know about this album until after I got into Trivium. So my impressions of it were maybe a little different than the listener who didn't know anything about Trivium and started with Ember to Inferno. But we're just going to go over kind of our experiences with it and what we liked about it. So starting with the intro, which is what Trivium is known for. So this one is Inception, the Bleeding Skies. So with this one, it kind of has... Matt has talked about it extensively about his interest in like post-apocalyptic settings. He likes video games in those settings. He likes intros in like with that gives that feel to it. So Inception, the Bleeding Skies feels a little bit apocalyptic, as if the world's kind of coming to an end. It's a pretty cool intro, and keep in mind these guys are like still in high school when they made this, so pretty impressive stuff for a first album. But let's get to Pillars of Serpents. Pillars of Serpents I really liked. It was very fast for a bunch of 16-year-olds. The pace of it was pretty good. It was also an introduction of the style, which is metalcore, right? So it's clean singing with screaming along with it, which is very much Trivium from the get-go. David, if you want to give some opinions on it.
Yeah, Pillars, the song, it took me a little while to like really get into it. Honestly, it took me until they re-recorded it for this in the sentence for me to be like, oh, you know what? That's a pretty damn good song. For me, the reason I always go back to this album is like kind of for those middle songs, which we'll get to in a bit.
All right, so next, If I Could Collapse the Masses. So this one, it's been a while since I heard that one. It's really, it's a little bit slower. It picks up the pace at one point, but it begins a little bit slow. Nothing really stands out about that song to me. I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that.
Honestly, yeah, because this is definitely the album like I re-listened to the least. So a lot of these songs, especially like the later half, I'm just not really familiar with them like whatsoever. But
yeah, I don't really listen to that one very much, but I do remember how it begins and all that, and it picks up the pace a little bit, but it's nothing that caught my interest.
Yeah, I would say the same thing with Fugue.
Yeah, Fugue is another one of those songs that it's just another track. Doesn't really stand out.
Yeah. But then we get into Requiem, and these next couple songs is like the ones I really like. With Requiem, I think it has it's just a really like jamming song, especially like the breakdown in the middle of it. I don't know, I just really like it.
Requiem has a very quick intro. It just kills right off the bat. It reels you in. Really intense it really shows how intense Trivium can get. And keep in mind, again, this is the first album, so it's very impressive for a 16-year-old to have written.
Definitely. And then especially the title track.
Yeah.
Even now, I still can barely play that riff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Ember to Inferno is the song, one of Matt Heafy's favorite songs as well, right? So it's on his top 5.
I don't know about songs, but at least enough so they keep playing it.
Right, and it's something that they've played through just about every set list, every tour that they do. At some point, they put Ember to Inferno in there. So it says something about their preferred songs and what their interests in their own music and which ones they like to play live. And Ember is one of those. Something that the crowd also loves to hear. So it's one of their best tracks, I have to say, like maybe in the top 10.
Yeah. I would have killed for them to re-record that track.
Yeah. Okay, then moving on to let's see, Ashes, which is it's like a
It's just a small interlude.
It's an inner. What do you call it?
Interlude.
Interlude. Yeah, into the next song. It's just a nice. I don't think they've ever done that again. Like add like an interlude like that mid album.
Yeah. I mean, unless you count like In Waves, like the deluxe version, with a track like Ensnare the Sun, kind of. But
yeah, they don't do that often. I think they should try that more often. It's a pretty cool thing. Not a lot of bands do this. So I'd like to see more songs interludes like Ashes. So but yeah, then that leads into To Burn the Eye. To Burn the Eye again is one of those songs that it's not bad. It's just not anything crazy. It's just another one of those another one of those tracks on the album.
Oh, I would say I really like this one. This is probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. Just because, like, I don't know. My friend, whose also name was Josh, he would always say the longest song is the best one. And honestly, for the most part, I definitely agree. I don't know if it's the best song in the album, but I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite one, but I might say it's the best one. Just because it really shows, especially at such a young age, how Matt was able to write like epic long songs. I mean, 7 minutes isn't like that long, but
it is for a first album.
Yeah.
To Burn the Eye just doesn't. I don't know. It didn't really catch my interest too much. I've listened to it. It's better than a lot of the songs here, but it's not anything crazy to me. But yeah, that goes for that one. So then next is Fall Into Gray. Another one. A lot of songs. I think the ones that stand out the most, I have to say just off the bat, the ones that always stood out to me was Requiem and Ember to Inferno. Those were like my top favorites from that one.
Pretty much.
Any other song from that is just like a kind of. But that one, Fall Into Gray, is another one of those for me. It wasn't super interesting to me.
My Hatred. When I re-listened to this album, I thought it was like pretty decent. I would definitely revisit that one more so than like a lot of other tracks on this album. Minus like the first four, Pillars obviously, and the three I already mentioned. But My Hatred it's a pretty solid track.
Yeah. Okay. So My Hatred. Again, I don't really listen to these ones. These are keep in mind, Ember to Inferno just is it's an introductory album. It really shows what their direction was where they wanted to go. You could tell where they wanted to go as a band already just from the first album. It was just creating more songs like Requiem and Ember to Inferno that carried that energy. And not just another track that they were writing that they had to complete the album. Like I feel like after Ember to Inferno, they never made that mistake again, which is just to make filler tracks. Because I feel like a lot of these are filler tracks, which is just songs that they kind of like, except for Pillars of Serpents. Pillars of Serpents was pretty good too, but a lot of these tracks are fillers in this album, and they stopped doing that right after. So this is the last time you'll hear after this album you'll hear like in detail every song what we liked about it.
Pretty much.
But okay, so then moving on. When All Light Dies. Can't say a lot about this one either.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just it kind of falls victim to that first album, Like a band's first album is usually like not as good as the rest,
Okay, so we fall into the outro. So the outro is not something that they have a lot of. They do have it in in waves. The outro. I'd like to see more of that. I think that's cool too. That was a good way to end the album. Was that particular outro? Kind of it starts to fade out.
Also, I think it's the Inception, the Bleeding Skies, but reversed, or it's the other way around.
Yeah, it's reversed. So initially it's reversed, and at the end it's the song played. The correct way.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah. So and then in like the bonus tracks, it segued into the Ascendancy. So it had The Deceived and Blinding Tears Will Break the Skies, And then what else did it have? I know I had
Demon.
one more. And Demon, yeah, which they
From the
didn't really...
demo.
Yeah, it was a demo. They never really did much with that. But out of those that stood out to me was the Deceived. The Deceived was... We'll get into that into the next album.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for Ember to Inferno. Really, really good for the time, for their age group. Because at no point in time would any 16-year-old that I know of be able to come up with something like that. So very good beginning. But the one following this is iconic. Like this is like what most people like about Trivium is the next album. So here we go.
Well, I would say I think Ember to Inferno, while being a really pretty good album, I think its production in its age, seriously under kind of it hurts it a little bit. Like when they re-released it, that Ab Initio or whatever it's called, I thought if they would have re-recorded the whole album, I think this would probably be like one of their best albums. But the fact that he was so young and couldn't really sing, could barely scream, it's just I don't know. It's just the age.
Good point. Like I said, it's for their age, it was very good. But you have to remember, these were a bunch of 16, 17, 18-year-olds. So, but yeah, that's it for Ember to Inferno. Good beginning. I love the idea of it. Obviously, like David just said, it's just their youth that they didn't have a lot of experience on how to make it, how to have made it a really big impact. But it made a big enough impact that would then lead them into this next album. So, right. Yeah. Okay, so next is, if you want to put it on there, Ascendancy.
Yeah, I'm going to start making a new one. Alright, catch you on the next one.
Later.